Konnichiwa! We've got a massive Mega Drive pickup show today. Join me as I try to collect every single PAL Mega Drive game. Game on! That's right, I'm trying to collect every single PAL Mega Drive game. And last month I had an excellent haul which we're going to go through today. We haven't got just games like these, but we've also managed to pick up some stuff which is awesome for any retro game collector. Before we get into this huge Sega Mega Drive haul, make sure you hit that like button if you're a massive retro gaming fan, and hit up the comments box below and let everyone else know what retro games you're collecting. Before we get into the games, there's a couple of things that I want to show you that I've picked up which are just awesome for any retro video games collector. The first thing is these plastic sleeves here. Now what these plastic sleeves are for your manuals. And you can see here I've gone through my entire collection and put my manuals in these resealable bags, which is just freaking awesome. I love this kind of stuff. Make sure that these manuals are well protected. And you can use these on not only Sega, I think you can also use these on Nintendo, and you can definitely get them for Nintendo manuals. And it's very similar to these plastic shells that you can get. So I have all of my Nintendo games in these plastic shells here. So you can see here we've got Jet Force Gemini in one. And it just really looks after the games, especially when they're made out of cardboard. And the same goes for the manuals. They're paper and they can tear and damage quite easily, and so having these resealable sleeves is just freaking awesome. I have no idea how I've not come across them before, but yeah, I saw them on a YouTube video and I was like, yep, I definitely need to get some of those. Super cheap and brilliant for your gaming collection. The next thing I want to share is an awesome quality of life thing, and that's for the Sega Mega Drive, the 32X and the Mega CD. Now this beast of a console here, it's an awesome console. I mean, it's a crap console, but it's an absolutely awesome console. Now one of the worst things about this console is that you need 3 power bricks. 1, 2, 3 power bricks just to get this thing running. After a lot of research, I actually found a company that gets rid of all of these 3 bricks and replaces it with 1. And this is just a fantastic cable to have. All 3 connectors for the Tower of Power on 1 brick. And it's an awesome quality of life improvement for this console here. So if you've got a Sega Mega Drive, Mega CD and 32X, I definitely recommend you pick up one of these. And I'll leave a link to the company who makes these in the description below. The next thing I picked up is just a really small thing, and that is an audio jack extender. So this is my OSSC, and this upscales all of my retro gaming RGB out signals so that I can play on big screen TVs. And with all of the connectors that I use, I have extenders. So here for my SCART I have an extender, and then my actual SCART cables plug into that. Same with the HDMI cable here, there's an extended cable that comes out, and then the HDMI cable goes into that. And that's so it takes off the stress from the actual components here on the OSSC. Now one of the final things that I was missing, and this is specifically for the Sega Mega Drive, was this audio jack here. Because if you have a 32X attached to your Sega Mega Drive, you won't get audio out of it unless you plug it into one of these and flick a little switch down here. So a little purchase, but it made a massive difference for me because I now have audio coming out of my 32X.
Welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Get ready.
And then the last thing before we get into the games is this awesome physical catalogue of every single PAL Mega Drive game. Now this is an unofficial catalogue that a fan has made, but he sells them on Etsy and eBay, and it's just brilliant. Now I have an electronic version that I use to track all my video games, but having something physical as a physical collector makes a huge difference. And you can see here on every single page we've got the artwork and the box displayed perfectly. absolutely gorgeous. And then little boxes that you can fill in to say whether you've got the cartridge, the manual, or the box itself. So just a brilliant, brilliant purchase. This has got to be one of the best purchases that I've made in the last few months. Absolutely love this and can't recommend it enough. Now there is one problem with this in that it is missing one game, and that's Lethal Enforcers. Now it could be because Lethal Enforcers didn't come in a standard Mega Drive box like this. It actually came in a box with the gun, but nevertheless, it's missing from this list in this book. But still a fantastic purchase, and I can't recommend it enough. If you're joining us from the future and watching this video, then something you need to know is that in 2020, the world was locked down. No one could go anywhere. And it led to retro video games becoming the dominant form of entertainment, which is awesome. But for this video, it means that 2 of the games that I picked up, we won't be able to look at because they're stuck in my work and I'm stuck in my house. Now the first of those games was Buck Rogers, a freaking amazing game. Now you'd expect Buck Rogers to be a platforming game, but it's not. It's a turn-based strategy game, and it's one of the best turn-based strategy games that came out on the 16-bit consoles. The other is Crackdown. Now I haven't played this yet, so I can't wait to get my hands on that game when we finally get back to normality. So we're going to go through these games in no particular order, and I'll throw up some gameplay for some of them. The first is Fatal Fury. Now unfortunately I didn't get the manual with this one, so I've got to somehow find the manual for this game. So if anyone watching this video knows where you can pick up second-hand manuals, please let me know in the comments below. But this one was actually $7.99 without the manual, which is a freaking amazing deal. Like usually this goes for 20 quid without the manual. So if I can just find the manual as well, then this game will be complete. But really love Fatal Fury. I spent a whole weekend playing this with my kids. It's brilliant, love it. The next one is Xenon 2, and this is by the Bitmap Brothers and has music from Bomb the Bass on it. And it's got to be one of the funkiest covers that I've seen on the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. 688 Sub Attack. Now this is the first game in the Sega Mega Drive catalogue, and it's just okay. Again, I don't have the manual, so if anyone knows where I can pick up manuals, please let me know. But yeah, not a bad pickup. My only sports title pickup, and that's Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. I just couldn't get on with this game. The controls were terrible. But there you go, token sports game for the collection. Art Alive. Yep. The Menacer Pack, not too bad. Graphically, hugely underwhelming. The mini games on this are terrible. And the game even has some slight nudity in it. Now you could use your Menacer light gun with this, or you could use a joypad as well to control it, but nothing really special at all. Zoop! Now I'd never played this before, but actually pleasantly surprised. A half decent puzzle game, where you have to move your piece around in the center of the screen to match the colors that are coming in from all 4 directions. It gets pretty hectic and it's super hard, but not a bad puzzle game at all. Altered Beast. Brilliant. I love this game. I mean, it's a terrible game, don't get me wrong. And it's super easy, but just the nostalgia with this game. This is one of the original arcade title ports for the Sega Mega Drive.
Welcome to your doom.
Turbo Outrun, again, no manual, but managed to pick it up for £4. Again, this is a game that can go for 20 easily. Not a bad racer, but definitely not the best in the series. Mickey Mania has some of the best visual effects that you will find on a Sega Mega Drive anywhere, and has a ton of 3D effects in here, which were all achieved with really clever 2D programming and artwork. F-22 Interceptor. Now I'm trying to collect a lot of the electronic art games first, and you would have seen this in a previous video that I've done, which I'll throw up here. And this game I absolutely loved when it came out. The 3D graphics in it just blew me away. Stunning game. Nowadays, it feels like it runs at 3 frames per second, but for nostalgia, you can't go wrong with it. Shining in the Darkness, the first in this series, brilliant game. This is a dungeon crawler, so it's a completely different format from the subsequent games that came out, but a brilliant RPG, and the presentation in this game is fantastic. Chuck Rock, a really decent platformer game. Graphics were amazing. Looking forward to getting back into this game. I played it when it originally came out, and this is the latest one I managed to pick up. It only arrived a day or so ago, so I'm looking forward to getting into this game. Space Harrier 2. Nowhere near as good as Space Harrier 1. And the music doesn't stand up to the original. I really do like the cover art on this game. The awesome Marble Madness, love this game. I loved it back in the day. So amazing, just blew my mind with what they achieved with this. The guy who actually created this, Mark Cerny, I worked with him at Sony, and he's a bit of an arrogant guy. But still, he did make a brilliant game. Fantasia, the second Disney game that I picked up, and this one is rock solid. Such a hard game to play, really unforgiving, but visually really nice. The audio in it's great, not a bad pickup. Zool, I never really got into this back in the day. I did have it, but I maybe played up to the 3rd level, but I'm really keen to get back into it and see if I can complete it. The awesome theme park. This game was just amazing. I've sunk so many hours on so many different formats into this game. Absolutely brilliant. And the last game that I picked up was Bob. Now Bob's presentation is fantastic. It's a platformer game, and the way I like to describe Bob is that it's the Ratchet and Clank of the 16-bit era. The levels, the attention to detail, the attacks, the animation, the graphics, the sound, everything, even the box, little details like this on the box just make this game so fantastic. If you have to pick up one Mega Drive or Genesis game this month, I definitely would consider picking up Bob. It's brilliant. So 21 games, that's my biggest haul in a single month for Sega Mega Drive games, and there's some absolute crackers in there. Now these are probably the last pickups that I'm going to make in a while, but I can't wait to get back out there and find more Mega Drive games, not just Mega Drive games, but games for my Super Nintendo, for my NES, for my Master System, for my PlayStation as well. Retro video game collecting is an awesome hobby, but it is not worth getting sick over. So stay indoors, don't venture out, and if you do buy anything off eBay, please clean it. Even if we didn't have this going on at the moment, you should always clean your second-hand games. That's it for today's Retro Gamer Boy show. If you love retro gaming, then why don't you subscribe by clicking on my little pixel head below, and so that you never miss an awesome retro gaming show, you can also click on the little bell down here. While you're stuck indoors, you might as well check out some more retro gaming videos from the Retro Gamer Boy show by clicking on either one of these two over here. And please make sure you stay safe.